You like the feeling of a little power once in a while, right?
You know, be in charge of
absolute power.
From Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
You drumming?
It's that song. It's a catchy tune.
You're Max Roach, or
I'm so happy.
Are you Max Roach or Philly Joe Jones?
I'm gonna go with Philly Joe. Because we're in Pennsylvania, and it's sunny out and it's warm out.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't say Philly's in Erie. In Pennsylvania.
Well, Philly, they don't know where we're at. They have no idea where Erie is. If it wasn't for the big watery thing,
nobody knows where we are. We're on our own up here. We're our own entity.
We're on our own little planet.
That's what we are. We should be secede.
We should. Where would we go? Ohio or New York?
Just be ourselves.
Like a Rhode Islandish kind of thing.
Yeah. Get 2 senators, a couple. What the heck?
You could be one.
I'd do that. Well, John, this is Kaz Kwiatkowski, City Councilman, and
Kaz's friend and co-host, John Steiner. How is everybody today? We have callers already calling. We have a caller on the air, so
we'll put her on.
Go ahead, caller. Thanks for waiting.
Hey, I heard you guys talking about seceding from the Union there and becoming your own state. Washington, D.C. isn't part of the United States, so there you go.
Yeah,
they've already done it. We can follow.
A lot of people don't know that. That's why, for a while they had no voting member of Congress. Mm-hmm. And they are kind of like kind of like Mexico City. It's a separate zone, a federal zone. And Washington, D.C. is what do they call it? The district?
District of Columbia.
Yeah, it's carved out. It's like an independent.
We could be the District of Erie.
Hey, I'm all for that. That just sounds very interesting.
Hey, sometime on TV there's a show that says before the 50 states. You should watch it. I can't remember what channel it's on. They show all the states that almost formed in the Union.
Is that like the History Channel or something?
Yeah, they show some weird things that almost happened.
I think I saw some of that. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, the reason I called was the other day it was on the news, and I saw, Joe Schember on there talking about all the changes coming to downtown and all the new technology that's going to happen and everything, how it's going to benefit for a lot of different things. But the first thing that came to my mind, and it comes to my mind probably, and this is going to date me, but when I was in high school a million years ago, I had to read George Orwell's 1984. Did you guys ever read that?
I never did, but I read parts of it. I wasn't even in high school, I wasn't much of a fiction guy. I like more history.
He's not much of a book reader. He's a movie watcher.
No, I read books, but not fiction too much.
Oh, okay.
But that was a good book, ma'am. I agree with you.
What do you think about the innovation coming downtown to Erie? What do you think about that idea?
Well, it kind of makes me nervous because I read George Orwell's 1984, and it seems like absolutely everything in his book is coming to pass now. And the future things that go beyond where we are right now are pretty sad, scary. And I just wonder, we're going to open a Pandora's box, and what do? We're not going to be able to close it.
I got news for you. We already opened that box. We're long past it.
Our generation, we're in a whole different world than what, I have a 19-year-old son, and they are in a whole different world generation.
When we all got one of these.
Yeah. You have the world, any piece of information you want is right here.
They can track you. They can track you.
And they can track you.
Ma'am, I go into a restaurant and they got on there, please rate us. And I'm going, how do they know I was there? Because there's a chip in your phone.
I know all that. I know.
Yeah. We've long passed it. I agree with you. It's scary.
You guys got to read George Orwell's 1984, and for the other callers that are listening, if they've never read it, it's an absolutely fascinating read. And if you don't like to read and you just like to listen, listen to it for free on LibriVox.
Well, they said one time that science fiction emulates reality. And when we were kids, and I go back probably, I don't know if I go back as I'm not going to ask your age, but I go back a little ways too. And we used to laugh at some of those space shows. And, here we are landing men on the moon. Now we're going out to the outer reaches of the galaxy. And then we used to read Dick Tracy, and he had that little wristwatch that he talked into. Well, we got him right here now. You know.
Well, it's gotten to a point where we have to weigh the positive and negatives of today's smart technology. Erie being a smart city, I think we're way behind in a lot of that stuff. But like with any other change, there's pros and cons to change.
Well, I think people fear that if you watched, you're still there, right, ma'am?
Oh, yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, if you watched, I was watching 60 Minutes that day. They showed this, I think it was 60 Minutes. They were showing this MIT, the stuff they were inventing for the future. And then they went back and they went back like 10, 15 years and showed snippets of what they had, covered at that school before. And you start looking at that stuff and you go, oh man, it's like when we were kids, things progressed slowly. I remember they invented the transistor. They thought that was like a big, once they got into the chip though, we went from
transistor radios. Weren't you great having one of them?
Yeah, now they look like ancient technology, right? You can put all your record collection in this phone. You can put your whole life in there. And I think they tell us there's more memory in these phones than there was on the Apollo mission to the moon.
Well, the big thing, what she's talking about, the innovative district, they're
cameras and everything.
They're trying to bring in a lot of new jobs in that district up there.
Yeah.
Where you have, in order to be a smart city, in order to attract these, cybersecurity is the big business. That's how they're trying to bring high-tech jobs into the city, because Mercyhurst has the program up there, the Tom Ridge studies or whatever it's called up there. So they're just trying to introduce the city itself as a smart city to attract technology businesses, to bring jobs here, actually good paying, family-sustaining jobs. So, we have to weigh the pros and cons of technology in the age of information. So,
did you know, though, in India, they are rolling out a lot of smart technology that's, happening, and what they're doing, and it's reality. It's right now in India. Their artificial intelligence has progressed so far that they can now, or at least they say, they are predicting pre-crime, and depending upon somebody's facial features, facial expressions, movements that they make, the artificial intelligence is going to target them, and the police are going to go in and arrest. And it's happening right now in India. Did you know that?
Well, I believe it, because they're talking about installing different cameras and different technology websites around the city, which, it does help police, but there are also civil rights that these cameras will infringe on. So, there's a balance between protecting society, reducing crime, and also to, we're having some, can you hear me okay on your television, ma'am?
Oh, no, I don't have any TV on, no computers on, I'm just talking on my phone.
Okay, because somebody just, Kaz had to step out of the air. I guess we're having, problems with the sound right now.
Oh, okay. No, I hear you real well.
Okay.
That's why, George Orwell's book popped into my head, because I had just got done reading about, because I try to stay up on the technology. I know I'm older than dirt, but, I don't want to be one of these senior citizens that when they talk about this or that, I go, huh?
Right.
Try to be involved and try to hear, and see what's going on.
Well, see, you're at that age, I'll be 50 years old this year, and people, between 50 and above, we're not really technology savvy. Whereas anybody younger than the age of 50, they're trained right from the get-go, and, they're trained to use this and they rely on this more. So right now, as far as our generation goes, we're in a bit of a transfer state where the age of technology is taking over computers, but, the older generation, we're still not caught up on where we need to be, but the younger generation, it's all about cyberspace, smart cities.
The way they give away their life, they're falling right into what this woman says, because everybody knows their business now.
Right.
We're a little more careful. We don't go on Facebook as much.
Right.
We try to stay away. You watch kids are texting where they are.
Right.
Their whole life is out there.
Yeah.
Once it's out there, it ain't coming back.
Right.
Well, on a down-to-earth note, okay, I'm a master gardener, and I heard you guys talking the other day about chickens in the city.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of cities, including New York City, that allow chickens, not roosters, but chickens in the city. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of mental health benefits to raising chickens. Health benefits, you get your healthy food. Chickens eat cockroaches. They can eat all your table scraps, so you don't have any leftover food and the garbage isn't piling up outside. And there are a lot of reasons to consider chickens in the city. You know, one thing you could do would be to contact the cooperative extension, the 4-H club that's there. There's a lot of students in the 4-H club, and we could entertain the fact that those students could hold classes for people who wanted to raise chickens. And if you wanted to raise chickens in your backyard, you'd have to take their class.
I don't know what happened.
Right.
That would give these students a lot of purpose and what they're doing and the things that they're learning.
Yeah,
right.
It's funny.
You know, Erie's health status, I think we rate 9 out of 62.
Okay,
and that's deplorable. It's horrible.
Thanks for calling, John.
And, you know, chickens would help. That's healthy food. It's protein every day for somebody. And like I say, it would also improve the environment. You know, their droppings. It's good for the soil. It would be a win-win-win situation. Now, I'm not bragging about roosters because not everybody likes to get woken up at the crack of dawn with a cock-a-doodle-doo. But, you know, you might want to rethink the farm animal thing. I can see a cow in the city, but like I say, there's cities all across the United States that now adopting a positive attitude for chickens. And I know Erie's going tech crazy, but why can't Erie go green crazy?
You know, I think we're doing a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think if they ever do what the lady wants, it would be in select areas. Because I don't think like in a residential area.
Why not?
Well, because I think the problem, well, we have it now, and it's really out of control because they find out that there's a lot of them being held in garages, and I don't want to say who's bringing them in, but it tends to be a problem of the new society, and a lot of people, you know, they're not taking care of them properly. Like you know, if they're taken care of properly, that's one thing, but they're not. And
I mean, they're not. Yeah, like you're saying. I mean, if I live next door to, you know, because you know, with all the immigration and all the people that are moving here now, you know, they have a different culture in the way they do things, but we don't have the.
They don't store the feed properly, so
right.
You get mice that come in.
Correct. There's all kinds of negative aspects to having certain type of farm animals, but you brought up the green aspect of it. I was working with, you know, they had the youth leadership program this weekend for Earth Day type of thing, and the community gardens, people, you know, the urban gardens, or what's that? Urban gardens, or is that what they're
urban
called?
Gardening, I think it was.
I mean, that kind of stuff is starting to, you know, grow into the city. But as far as the chickens and stuff go, I mean, I know that's something that maybe down the future, but at this point, that would be kind of tough to.
Well, you should look into what the 4-H kids can offer for the residents of the city. And if you want chickens, you have to complete their course. And, you know, have these students really get involved.
See,
and that would end the hiding of the chickens in your garage.
Well, the problem we got now is we don't have the manpower to go out there and check it, and they're doing it anyway. So when they passed that ordinance a number of years ago, it was because, late Jimmy Thompson used to joke.
Yeah.
He had goats walking down the street, and it was just getting out of hand, you know, that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, now they're in hiding, but I knew teachers that used to be told their kids would come to school and say, yeah, we got chickens in the garage, you know, and I'm going, well, that's kind of not what you want to do. I mean, when you move into a residential area, you made some concessions, and that was, I mean, the gardening thing, that goes back years when I was a kid when they used to garden along 38th Street. So we've kind of said, well, if you got an empty field, you know, you can put some light gardening in there, but if you want to do heavy commercial gardening, then we've zoned that special in some of these areas. Like I could say, probably like the Savacchio industrial park or something.
There has to be some distinction between an urban and a suburban area.
Yeah, and I think
people live in the city because they want more of an urban atmosphere, whereas people would move to the county for the more suburban, the horses and chickens and cows and all that.
It's like now that we're getting inundated with people moving in. Well, they're not moving south anymore. They're moving south and north. So now you got strange animals that come in the city like bears. Yeah. I mean, they're getting more prevalent. Then you get, like, I've had 6 deer in my backyard. And you go, wait a minute, I moved into a city,
Yeah, there's deer. I mean, I see deer in the middle of the city all the time. I mean, it's starting to, you're right. Wildlife is starting to spread. But thanks for calling, man. We have to get some other callers in.
You guys take care. Keep it up.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
We have to make an announcement. I don't think anybody can hear us, but.
They can't hear us.
Yeah, for some reason, we've had some
technical difficulties?
Yeah, it's Mike's working on it now.
Want me to do this?
Go ahead, yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
Yes, hi. I'm calling about the city. Does the city have? It's about Destination Erie. Is the city still doing that?
Destination Erie? No.
Yeah, you're not?
No. Destination Erie was the old plan.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thinking about the plan. Does the city have a ICLEI office?
Have a what?
An ICLEI office?
What kind of office?
What kind of office?
It's the ICLEI office.
What's that?
What?
Spell that.
ICLEI. ICLEI.
No.
It's the International Council for Local Environment Initiatives.
No, I doubt.
I don't think so.
It's Agenda 21.
That would be a
county, I think, more.
Oh, Agenda 21.
Every community has this. Every community of this population size in this country, they have this.
Anything like that would be county oriented, not city.
We have to ask Carl when he comes on.
They don't have that.
Is the city involved in Agenda 21?
No.
Not to my knowledge. They've never said anything to us.
Are you guys just saying this to protect your guys' political accountability?
First of all, I'm not elected official.
Yeah, John's not elected, and that's why we have people upstairs in the administration that are supposed to keep us up to date and that stuff. But I'll look into it, but I think it's more of a county function.
Yeah. All right, thanks for calling. We got to get some other callers, and plus we're having technical difficulties.
Okay, maybe you guys are in on this. Agenda 21.
Well, I'm not in on anything.
We're not even sure what you're talking about, to be honest with you. Thanks for calling.
There's so many programs out there that.
Yeah, I think that Agenda 21 I don't know if that's I don't know if it's some right-wing thing or something. I don't even know, but we're not involved in that.
I can't keep track of the programs we're into because
it's like some conspiracy theory about government doing this and doing that and stuff like that. I don't even know if people can hear us. Go ahead, caller.
You know you have no sound coming over the TV?
Well, he just answered you. So.
Yeah, I was just...
Yeah, we were made aware of that. I've taken 2 phone calls. Yeah, he's working on it now.
Okay. Another thing, as long as I'm on the line. I called you a while back about a car on Fairmont Parkway, just east of, between Harrison and Wagner, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
Out the south side of the street. But it's been there since last summer, and it's still sitting there.
Fairmont Parkway. It's on Fairmont Parkway, correct?
Right.
Between
Harrison and Wagner.
What color is it?
I want to say it's gray or blue, maybe.
Gray, you said?
Gray or blue?
What 100 block is that? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay. It's been parked there for a long time, though, right?
Yes. About right in the middle of the block between Harrison and Wagner.
Okay, I'll go down to the police station on my way out the door today.
Another thing, East 28th Street and Burton Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance of making that a 3-way stop sign?
East 38th or East 28th?
East 28th and Burton. You come down Burton, there's times you have to wait quite a while to make a turn.
Let's see. I don't go, try and think, and I go down there and I can't remember this now. But do you think they should have a 3-way stop sign?
Yeah, I do, because you get a lot of traffic coming, heading west from Walmart, and then you've got traffic coming east also.
What I can do is I'll take a ride there, because I live in that area.
Make a ride down that way a couple times and see, different times of the day and see what it's like.
And then we'll have to ask the traffic engineer to do that. What we normally do is we have her look at it, and then she'll make a recommendation.
Yeah.
Is there a time when it's really busy, or is it all the time?
It's different times of the day I go down through, and it seems like it's always busy.
Yeah, because one time, remember, we had a road studied, and the state did the study at the wrong time of year when it didn't have the full effect in there. But I go down that way, but I'll take a ride because I get down there for different things.
Going down the Bayfront Parkway, the traffic lights, that's another issue. There's different times of day you could make every light green from 12th Street down to 6th Street. Mm-hmm. There's other times of day you almost stop for everyone. Why can't they be synchronized to make it green all the way down and all the way back up without having to stop?
You're going to laugh at this comment. Years ago, do you remember when people used to think heading from, let's say, coming in from the airport all the way into the city on 12th Street?
Right.
They used to complain about how the state spent year after year after year synchronizing the lights. And we all thought what that meant was that you could hypothetically get on at State Street or at Parade Street and pretty much ride all the way out to the airport or West Street Plaza. And somebody told me, an old traffic engineer said, no, that's not what we mean by synchronization. I said, well, that's what the public thinks. So they say, no, that's not true, that, they view synchronization completely different than what we think. But I agree with you, there are times when you hit them right and you seem like you're okay, but other times, you just get, the whole city can be like that. You hit one bad light or one bad stop sign and you're done.
Yeah, that's true.
But they claim synchronization is not what we talk about.
Yeah.
Engineer talk, I guess. I'll ask her again sometime and maybe I can have her explain it to us.
You think on the Bayfront, you want to keep the traffic flowing instead of having to stop at every light.
Well, yeah, what I always heard was the reason why they put right-hand turn, in Pennsylvania years ago, with safety, you're supposed to come to a stop, which a lot of people don't, was because of the waste of gas. Why should you sit there?
Yeah.
And I think the state passed another way. You can go left on left on
a one-way.
On a one-way. And then they also had a weird rule came out a couple of years ago, I think, that if you're in the middle of the night and it's very restricted, you can go through a light. I'd have to ask a police officer about this before I go on record, but supposedly they wanted to pass a rule that, like you're sitting there late at night, nobody's around you, and you have clear control over your viewing pattern, that you can go through the light, because they're saying, why should you sit there and pump, gallons of gasoline? You figure all the gas you pump, waiting at lights and everything, and in a city, that's smog and everything else.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. They try, if you go to a lot of cities now, they're trying to get people to keep moving, even at a slower pace. Like if you time it right, they'll tell you, like sometimes on I-80, they used to have these things where it said, if you go at this speed, you're going to be okay. And if you go too fast, sometimes you hit the lights the wrong way. Yeah, there used to be a trick, like you said, if you time the speed the right way, you could probably go all the way across town.
I get on the Bayfront on Broad Street, and no matter how fast I go, I cannot make that green light at 12th Street.
Yeah, I go through there a lot too.
There's like certain lights that are like totally against me. It seems like it's like, oh, here he comes. Here comes John Steiner. Swoop, red.
Oh. I think when we get to the second round of what we're going to be doing on the Bayfront Highway, when we do the 18th Street interchange, I think they are going to address Broad Street a little bit, because right now that's a bottleneck. That's a real nightmare when you come off.
It's a disaster. I don't know why they even set it up that way.
Well, they never. It's like the state is surprised at the Bayfront Highway. You're still there, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
They're surprised. The state is surprised that the Bayfront Highway is as successful as it is. well, let me get this right now. You don't have too many lights on there.
No.
Well, really.
Right.
So why wouldn't you take the course of least resistance?
Yeah, right.
To get across town,
Yeah, right. And then they wanted you to take 12th Street, and then it's...
But then they closed it down.
Yeah.
I even told the state that. I said, aren't you the same guys that closed it down?
Yeah.
And they go, well, yeah, okay, now you want to open it up again.
I mean, it's like we do things and then 10 years later, it's like, why did we do that? Like, we put, shut down State Street. Then it was like, why the heck did we do that?
Yeah.
Then we reopened it.
Yeah.
Then we shut it down again, and then we reopened it.
But 12th Street, when I was a kid, they had tracks on there. So they took the railroad tracks out, they made it wider.
And then they cut parking spaces with these bump outs.
Yeah.
And, over by the post office, it's like, why would you take parking spaces away?
We got to make it a
sense of what?
calm place.
A calm place. Oh, okay. And that's why I was freaking out because I couldn't find parking. All right. Thanks for calling, caller. Thanks.
We get some good callers. They're pretty,
Yeah, too bad nobody can hear us. The red one. This one, yeah.
Oop, I hit the wrong one.
Yeah, I know. It took me. Can anybody hear us?
Hey, wait a minute. Is the phone okay?
Testing. What do you mean is the phone okay? Yeah.
I had the wrong number.
Is this Kaz?
I got to put that one on there. There we go.
Yeah, hit that one. There you go.
I hit it by mistake.
Oh, did you? I mean, we can't, nobody hear us, so it's like.
It's frustrating. It really is. It's happened before. I think it's our equipment's getting a little old.
Yeah, we need to update the equipment. Mike's probably back there pulling his hair out.
Yeah. John called,
John called?
Yeah. Maybe.
So we have some technical difficulties. We should put the big sign, technical difficulty.
We'll have to get somebody with signs, like,
Let me see that paper.
Go ahead, caller.
Yes, hi. I was calling to see if the city has ever thought about people that live in their vans permanently, which is called boondocking, in order to get maybe more people to come to the area, having hookups where people could hook up their RVs for free. So where they would have like water, they would be able to get water, and also empty like their gray and black tanks. Because I know in some other cities throughout the country, they do this, and it really generates quite a few people.
Well, we just recently studied how we're going to handle trailers in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just recently handled. No one's talked about that yet. That's probably part of the master plan. I think that's something that as we go through the redesigning of the city and the neighborhoods, that may be something that might come up, In the past, there was a reluctance to turn cities into trailer parks and other things like that. But, there might be a new way of thinking now.
Yeah, because it would be like more for tourism, and since we're like a tourist city, it might be a nice attraction when there's not a lot of...
Well, I think you can... Do they have hookups down? Do you know, John, down by the east?
Yes.
East? They do down there. Lampe?
Yeah.
Lampe?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lampe has them, man, but there's not too many other ones. I think maybe that's something that when they redesigned the waterfront, now you may not want to put them there, but maybe you can find some place where you can help. you can find some room to put them in, and if you take care of them properly, if they're kept up and everything. Kind of like what we do to boaters. We have what they call transient boat docks, where people that come in, they can dock their boat, get a shower.
That's what they should
and wash their clothes, stuff like that.
Like they do at the Travel America centers for truck drivers and stuff.
Well, it's not a bad idea. If you maybe we can find a place somewhere close.
Like should do it down by the dock, down by where Rum Runners and. Where the McAllister's is and stuff?
How about the parking lot that never gets used on 12th Street?
Which one? Oh, the visitor or the carryover?
Yeah.
There's a name for that, isn't there? Isn't there a name for that?
Yeah, it's got a fancy name, but it never gets used.
The Intermodal Center. No.
No, that's not Intermodal.
No, Intermodal's down.
It's got a fancy name of somebody on there, but maybe something like that, where,
anything to bring somebody in.
If you go to Nick Scott's hotels, he's already got the electric charging stations.
Right.
That's another thing we might have to look at,
Yeah, right.
Right, ma'am?
I think that would help. Also, too, if they would also have, what about in the cities for people that do sleep in their vans and stuff?
Yeah, it's something to think of. I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think you want to be careful when you do it, but I think, yeah, if we are serious about, tourism and everything else, maybe we need to look at that.
Because it would be like a whole group of people, another group of people, and these could be people that come like all year round, because we do have a lot to do here, like in Erie.
Yeah, I've seen some towns where, you can't even tell they got a court back there, a trailer court, because they planted vegetation and, it's a contained area until you get inside. So, and like you say, if it increases the population a little bit, but also for the tourists, I remember Mark I. Finley used to be very persistent about like how we dealt with boaters that come in here from Canada and other places. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you do when you come here? Where do you park your boat? Where do you get a shower? Where do you wash your clothes? Things like that. And they actually did build one down there for a while.
Because it would bring more money in, and people that have money to buy the boats or even these RVs, it's individuals that maybe have a little bit of extra money and they're taking like a trip or something. Maybe
we need to put in charging stations for these electric cars too.
Yeah.
And if it's a case that we can make a couple bucks, that might not be a bad idea, or because the businesses are putting them in on their own.
Yeah.
A lot of the hotels.
Yeah.
For the millenniums and stuff, they're very.
Yeah, go up there sometime behind Cracker Barrel, and you'll see the Nick Scott's got them up there, the charging stations for the what do you got, Teslas or something? It's strange when you look at them and go,
right.
But it's a good idea, Mm-hmm. What do you do if you want to travel, right?
Yeah, right.
He's attracting like a whole new group.
Yeah, we have to start looking at things a little different. And I'm sure if when they start coming on your neighborhood, when they roll out these meetings, don't be afraid to come and give your ideas, okay?
I don't know if they have them in the area where we live.
Do you live in the city?
Yeah, I do.
They're going to eventually be out there. They're going to go everywhere eventually. Everybody's got different issues and different problems, but, I think, when we redesign the city in the future, I think nothing should be off the table, really.
Well, the mayor has the brown bag events. He has, if you go onto the website, I believe.
And he is taking them out in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, he's going out there, and they're bringing the refocused plan to communities.
I mean, even where I live, I don't have problems other people got, but I got different problems.
Yeah, right.
And, and people got ideas, and I think what we never do in the past is we kind of poo-poo people when they give us ideas, and that's a bad thing to do. A lot of times some ideas maybe look a little out there, but then when you think about it, you go, wait a minute, it's something that if we do it right, we can probably.
Right.
But I never thought of that. What do you do if you want to visit Erie?
Yeah, right.
We don't want them staying out in Summit. Really, we don't.
No.
At the trailer court? I mean, if we can put one here that's clean and.
It would the South Pier would be a great place to put it.
Yeah, and like you said, I haven't been down there, but
yeah.
I was down there once when we had the veterans thing and we go there once a year to do the bonfire and stuff, but I didn't realize they had all that water and everything.
Yeah.
We used to go down there and watch people fish when my children were younger. We would go every Saturday.
Yeah, and that's big for us. I'm surprised the number of people. Well, I shouldn't be, but the number of people that come up here is amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe even with the Sons of Lake Erie or something, if they could get some of those, because that's like an older group of people, and a lot of these people that are in the RVs are like families and maybe older people.
I think John hit it on the head. We got a lot of, past the Barber Center down there we got a lot of unused land back in there.
Yeah.
That, we could probably do some.
Like we have the
and it's right off the Bayfront Highway.
What's the biker thing we have here? The Roaring. We could have the
Roar on the Shore.
The RV on the hill or something like that.
Well, when you go down, there's a lot of empty land down
there. When I go down there during the summertime, I'd say it's 20% capacity full.
And look at some of our industrial parks. up around McClellan.
Yeah, but they don't have the good. They already have the hookups and stuff for electric and other things like that down there.
I mean, it's unused though.
No, it's not used. That's what I'm saying. They could, offer it free for a week or a 2-week period, 2 free weeks. And, your problem with Erie is we have to spend a little money to make a lot of money.
The only people who spend it is Paul Nelson and Nick Scott.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they do. They advertise and everything.
Yeah. Without those guys, I mean, what expansion would we have? All right. Thanks for calling, caller.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And it's a good idea, but when you think about it,
yeah,
everybody thinks of them being as bad, but if you fix it up nice,
oh yeah,
you put a nice shrubbery around it,
yeah,
and people come here.
Like an RV show.
Why do we want them to go south of the line?
Yeah, right.
If we can keep them here.
I don't even think you can park out on the peninsula with those things overnight, can you? Well, they have the beachcomber. Right where you go down the hill, and then they have that camping area right there.
I think the state is restricted there.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't even know if they give you a permit overnight.
Probably not. You have to be off.
But
when you have a boat there, I think.
Like a lot of times you have to stay out on the highway somewhere. They used to have the old KOAs and all that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Mark Guy Finley was adamant about how we treat boaters.
Yeah, right.
And, people used to laugh at him, but they built that, right near that miniature golf course. They had a thing there what they call transient boat dock.
Right.
And people could go in there and they had coin-operated clothes washers. Mm-hmm. You had vending machines. You had showers.
Right.
So people, things we take for...
That would be a great thing for the McAllister property down there which nobody seems to want to develop. A boating industry.
What we need is somebody with vision and money.
Yeah, well, we definitely need that. Especially, both. You got to have both. Without both, I'm just stunned that nobody has jumped forward to develop that property.
I was at the.
If I had the money, I'd be all over that.
If we ever got Mark Guy on here, he's a big boater.
Yeah.
He goes nuts about how we've lost. We have a couple, but he always likes shooters.
Yeah.
That concept of you have a bar down by the place where you can eat, park your boat.
Like Rum Runners.
Yeah, there's an idea.
I was at Rum Runners yesterday.
Yeah. And people like that, okay?
Absolutely.
And the floating dock that the city voted on, I don't know what the progress is on it. They were working on it last summer. Mm-hmm. We passed that a couple of years ago, giving them right to put a floating bar and all that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Those are good things for the waterfront.
Absolutely. I mean, technically they could take the half, where the bay, the east slip.
Yeah.
And they could turn that McAllister's, there's an empty space, and then they have that stuff in the back. Back there where, Nick Scott's place is.
You ever been to Chicago?
Yes.
You walk, how you walk along the Riverwalk?
Yeah.
And you got those restaurants and watering establishments all along the waterfront. Why can't we do it? I mean,
it's a perfect place for that. We have parking now.
Think where you got the Sheraton Hotel, right?
Yeah.
So, you could drop a pier down in the water. Yeah. What do you call it? A permanent floating pier, like?
Yeah.
And, just when the weather's good.
Well, what you do is you need places for people to dock.
Yeah.
Like when they have something going on at the peninsula, everybody pulls their boats up. I mean, it's when they do the concert series out there.
Yeah.
It's packed. I mean, if you went down there now where you can't do it on the other side because of the hotel, but on this side, on the east slip, restaurants, shops, and you put a bunch of docking spots.
What would somebody do if they wanted to check in the hotel and they had a boat? I wonder if they ever had anybody.
I don't think they have any, reserved boating parking spots.
Would that be novel?
Yeah, I mean, they would probably have more business. If that's what they should do on the east, where all the just during the summertime, you can take them out in the winter.
Yeah, my daughter says she's typical of young kids. She said we have fallen down.
Somehow we
have the potential that we have.
We have to get the people at the peninsula. That's what kind of I like the Ferris wheel idea. The Ferris wheel, there's a little bit of a cost, but nothing major. I want people from Presque Isle with kids and families, and when they're driving across Presque Isle and they look and see that Ferris wheel, I want the kids in the back seat saying, "Mom,
what's Navy Pier got? They got the big."
Absolutely. Perfect. The Navy Pier is a perfect of what we could have here. Granted, we don't have, there's a little, but we have, one thing that we have that they don't have is the peninsula that with all that to see the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
And it draws attention to that side of town to bring business tourism dollars over to our side.
I think the best thing, people love that, like the Victorian princess and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
You don't have no sound?
We still don't. We've been trying to work on it.
It is a cable problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm watching you moving your mouth. That's about it.
Yeah, we're thinking we have to get, what do you call those people that work with the hearing challenged?
Yeah.
Did you see my sign? It says help. Can you see it?
No.
It's frustrating because we've had some good people on here that have called with some good ideas and nobody can hear them.
No. Actually, it's been a really good show, but nobody can hear us.
Do you have anything you want to add? We can always,
Well, I was going to ask you something, but now I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you can call back.
Yeah, call back when you remember. I do the same thing sometimes.
Bye.
Bye. Call back though, sir, okay?
What are these guys talking about? Nothing.
When I think about it, I almost wish we had a bigger boat sometimes.
That's what they said in Jaws, too. Hey, if nobody can hear us, we can really talk what we want to talk about.
Somebody will be recording it somewhere.
Well, no, DJ said, I can hear you guys on the web.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, when you stream us. So if he can hear us on streaming, then it has to be a cable issue.
Hey, DJ, if you're out there listening, any of your mining buddies out there down in the silver mine, get us a bigger boat, get us some life along the waterfront.
So if they hear us online streaming, then it's obviously a cable problem.
Yeah.
Did I get it?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hey, can't hear you guys today.
Yeah, it seems like we're only on the computer right now. Do you have a computer?
Nope.
Oh, we had a couple of notes that you can hear us on the streaming channel, but it's got to be a cable issue or something because we've had Mike working on it now since the beginning of the show.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just fence that East Avenue Bridge off?
What are they, what?
Why didn't they put a big fence across this?
Did you hear what he said?
Say that again, Lloyd.
The bridge.
What about it?
What about the bridge?
Why didn't you put a fence so people don't walk over it?
Well, you know what? I can't speak for the administration. I think their thought process was, in the interim, before we actually tear it down, they were trying to be nice to the public and, allow them to use it for foot traffic only, not vehicular. Yeah. But now they've turned around and used that against us in our arguments. And I don't know, Lloyd, I said that to someone, if you want us to, we can very easily, put a fence there.
What if somebody get hurt?
That's being discussed.
Who's liable is the question.
Well, right now the state took it over.
Oh, the state?
That's what I understand. The last time I asked, I said, when they're doing that utility work right now, relocating the water lines, I said, well, what happens? And it was said that the state decided to keep it open. They have taken control of the bridge now. So,
well, that's good.
I'm sure what happens, though, if something happens, what happens.
Yeah, nobody ain't going to win from the state.
Right.
Everybody's going to be running around saying, not my fault.
Yeah, right. Well, DJ said when they play the replay, we should have sound.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how that works. He said it's got to be a cable vision problem.
So Lloyd, you got any suggestions for making Erie great again?
Any word or what?
Not really. I have one idea.
What's that?
No, for next year, the recyclable cleanup, okay?
Yeah.
Before, you do it. Warn these people saying, we're going to start fining you. Heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed some of our neighbors, they put out, 8 or 9 mattresses?
Yeah. And, our people pick them up because they don't want to make it bad for you, Lloyd. If you have to sit next to that,
yeah,
and the people refuse to do what they're supposed to do, then who suffers, you do.
Yeah. I put a table out and it was gone in 5 minutes. Nothing was the matter with it.
They took it?
Somebody did.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's amazing. If you got iron or steel or something, you put it out there, the pickers will cut. You know how bad they got a few years ago? They used to cut the wires because they wanted the copper in the wires and leave everything else.
Yeah, there was the vacuum cleaners there.
Yeah. They nipped the wires because they wanted to strip the copper off them, but yeah, it's amazing how.
Table.
Huh? Pardon?
It was a wooden table we put out.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised if you put stuff out there, people will grab it.
What is junk is somebody else's
treasure.
Yeah, right.
What you got to do is put a sign on it. Please don't take.
They'll just take your sign.
Yeah.
And the stuff.
But if you wanted to take it for sure,
oh, yeah,
put down, please don't take.
Yeah, this is valuable, but don't take it. It'll be gone. There's times where I've put stuff, I didn't even get stuff outside and people are sitting there waiting for it. It's like, you're throwing that out, right?
I remember the first few years we did this. Yeah, I was a young man. I'm bringing stuff out and the guy goes, you got anything more good in there? I'll wait around.
Yeah, right.
These guys had it timed like an hour before, 2 hours before the pickup. Right.
You know what? One time somebody by us, they buried their car under the stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 2 minutes later, the police is there, and
sometime I'm going to tell you a story about somebody you know, Lloyd. I don't want to say it over the air.
I know.
And you're going to laugh your head off when I tell you this story. I'll probably see you over at Holy Trinity sometime, and if you knew who it was, you'd laugh your head off. But yeah, they did find a car. You wouldn't want to know where they found it, though.
23rd and Reed.
No. This was you're going to laugh. When we get together, I'll tell you that story.
Yeah, on May the 13th.
What's that? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You know, hey, did you reserve your tickets for Zimbabwe yet?
You know, I always volunteer.
Yeah, but Lloyd's porch.
Lloyd has the primo seats.
But you have to register in advance, though.
You do. You have to be a lifelong friend to get to hang out on Lloyd's porch. His porch it would be if you were at.
You got to get by a barber first too.
Yeah, right. He's got the best seats in the house for Zimbabwe.
Yeah, how'd you get that, Lloyd? Would you?
We bought the house almost 35 years ago.
I mean, did you have some advanced knowledge there to put the stage there, or what?
No, we never did.
It's like Wrigley Field, how they had, the houses right there. You could see into the game.
Somebody asked me, how do you get up in here? I said, very difficult.
Only a very select few get to hang out with Lloyd.
Father Dave Montekevich, remember him?
Yeah.
He started Zimbabwe.
How long ago's that been there, Lloyd? How long? When did that start? If you had an estimate.
Let's see, we're going on our 25th anniversary this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I remember when they started the Feast of the Assumption over there, St. Paul's, and then the Polish decided, everybody decided, hey, it'd be good to bring these things back.
Yeah.
Now you got the Russians with Troika and.
They're all successful too, which is a really good thing.
I think it's a good thing. Like, now you got the immigrant groups starting theirs. Hey, you know what? It's like the Greek Fest. If you like that stuff, and
I always try to hit them up.
There's so many of them now that I'm usually out of town. But
last year I volunteered at at Zimbabwe, and I volunteered at the German Fest.
I tried 10 bar there at least, on a Saturday or something.
Yeah, they need, but, I was, sold tickets and stuff like that for there and at German Fest, so, and and passed out brewskis and stuff like that, so.
Brewskis, I can't have that anymore.
No, you can't.
You can't?
You can't partake anymore in any brewskis there, Lloyd?
Oh.
You're not even allowed the Polish holy water?
Oh.
No vodka even, or what?
Now I have to watch what I eat.
Oh.
My cholesterol's so high.
Oh, yeah. That's why I try to, I got a little, I've had problems too, so you try to stay, just keep it down to a bare minimum.
Yeah. Well, all right, thanks for calling, Lloyd. We got to get some other callers. And I guess you can't hear us too good, but from what I understand, when they do the replays and stuff, it's going to...
Yeah, if you got a computer, you can go on there,
It should be all right on there.
But we only got about 10 minutes left, so...
Well, thanks for calling, Lloyd. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Oh, bye-bye. I mean, we can't,
It's a shame. This was a good show.
It was a good show. I tell you, last month and a half, Well, last month I'd say that I've been coming. They've been pretty good. You know it's going to be a good show before we even start, and you have like 2 or 3 callers, while you're out there socializing.
When I go around town, like especially to church or breakfast,
yeah,
people watch the show, but
they watch the replays.
They call in.
Yeah, they watch the replays.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello, are you putting out audio? I'm not getting any audio on.
Yeah, we were told when early in the show, my mother called, and I have Mike working on it, but I don't think we're gonna. What do you tell us? It was a cable problem.
It's a spectrum problem. It's not a city hall problem because we are broadcasting audio through the internet streaming, and I'd imagine if you went on the city's website, you could see the show and you would get sound in it with what we've.
Yeah, if you got a computer, but we only got about 10 minutes left, so.
Yeah.
Will the audio be recorded for the replay?
Oh yeah, he does that all the time. I don't know. The question's going to be whether we have sound on the replay.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's still up in the air, but Mike.
Okay, he said we will have sound on the replay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the problems with Spectrum but I guess from what he said, the sound will be fixed.
Maybe it's all the bad things we said about him.
I know. Now we really can't talk about all the stuff we really want to. We have to go to prime time for that. All right. Thanks for calling. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about?
No. What subjects are you covering today?
We've been over to
tourism, smart cities,
Big Brother looking down on us.
All the fun stuff,
Yeah, and different. Mostly, people are concerned about the direction the city's going and trying to help it. Actually, a lot of people are coming up with good ideas about
that's the
things we don't look at.
That's the one thing I've noticed about this show.
What's that?
Before it was just people calling about potholes, plowing, crime. Now I'm starting to notice more people calling with ideas, suggestions. We do get some concerns, which is part of the program.
I think people like to. I think they want to see the city do better.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And I hope we are a little conduit to that.
Everybody. Nothing is perfect. All right. When you can find fault in anything, but it seems like the more callers that we're getting, they have good suggestions and good ideas, which makes for a better show because it gets us talking about anything other than potholes. So that's a good thing. So thanks for calling.
You're probably my age, right, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could.
26.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. If we could put young people, middle-aged people, and old people in a room.
Yeah.
And they could all get along and play in the sandbox.
Yeah.
You'd learn a lot because people my age don't know what the kids want.
Right.
The kids have no idea what we want. They don't know the world that we remember was here, and maybe we can't have it all back, but
like we talked about, Kaz.
There has to be middle ground,
Like we've talked about. Our generation you just hit the nail right on the head. Your generation compared to younger generation, I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Never in history has technology and
separated us so much.
Has divided our cultures. The culture divide between the elderly and the youth is in history. I don't think is ever going to be as prevalent as it is right now.
Well, it's funny. Like you go to a place and they want you to use your app. Well, I know how to use it, but there are people that don't even want to learn how to use it, and I can understand it.
When I started the Joy Senior Center in Mill Creek, I started computer training classes. I had seniors that didn't even know how to turn the power on.
That's understandable.
I started one class. Okay. Then once the word started getting around, then I went to 2 classes, 3 classes. It's not that seniors don't want to learn. They get frustrated and they don't understand it, and then
sometimes they're embarrassed.
And then they don't want to use it. But a lot of them want to do email. A lot of them want to do texting. A lot of them want to get on the internet and search and do things. They just don't understand it.
If these young kids would take somebody off to the side and say, "Hey, you know what? You can talk to your grandchildren on here," and then show them.
That's what a lot of was emailing and text. I set up classes. We had Verizon and different come in to teach people how to use smartphones, how to use computers. I'm talking from the start button. And it started off with, basic internet searches, emails, and then they started to go on into different things like Word and, all these other different things like that. I mean, these classes it started off with a group of 10, then it went to 20, 30, and it just kept growing because seniors do want to learn.
Sure they do.
But there is a gap between the elderly and the youth regarding technology, which creates a whole other aspect of social problems and communication problems that you and I will never understand. The younger generation, they don't understand. So.
You still there, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if the kids would help out the people that are a little challenged in that stuff, I think they'd learn that there's a good side to everybody, you know.
Yeah, I have an 18-year-old son. I'll be 50, and he's in a total different world.
Well, I tell kids, they come up to me and they go, look, no, I don't want you doing it for me. Yeah. I want you to show me how to do it.
Yeah. I mean, this right here, this and video games,
I'm done.
Have taken over the world. How do you click? We don't even click mouses anymore. It's this, and video games have taken the place of so many social activities that the whole structure of communication between humanity is a whole different aspect. It's a whole different ballgame. So, thanks for calling.
Well, thank you, and I hope you can get Spectrum to correct this problem.
Yeah, I'm sure Mike I think he's been on the phone with him already.
Yeah, I was going to go down there and crack some skulls.
Yeah, I think we have to.
You're going to go down there and crack some skulls.
This is a new world. We can't go over it.
It's a whole my son is living in a whole different world than I am. When I tell him we used to have 3 channels, 12, 24, he was like, oh my God.
The dark ages. Or black and white TV.
And you actually had to sit by the phone and you had to sit by the phone and dial like this.
How about black and white TV?
And black and white. And then the TV went off at a certain time with the national anthem. Go ahead.
Hi, Kaz. This is Freda. I said, I'm concerned about the LED reader boards, and I found out that Mill Creek has a very detailed set of regulations about the LED reader boards. And I sent that to some people, but I think it would be useful for the city to update its regulation of LED reader boards. I
saw that you mailed it to me, but I was tied up heavy this week with other stuff, so I haven't got into it, but I'll get back to you about it.
Well, I hope you do.
I will. I seen it. I was inundated with phone calls this week, and I had some personal business to take care of, so I'll get to it and get back to you. Okay, Freda?
My neighbor across the street, he says, for example, the one in front of Bellows on 32nd in Pittsburgh in the city, it's extremely bright.
Oh, you're talking about
the LED reader board signs.
Yeah, it's like,
there's no, other than that you can't have it near a residence, the city has no specific regulations.
No, they don't.
It has very detailed requirements of what you can and can't have. And it would be useful for the city to update its regulations.
So you wouldn't be in favor of us doing the Times Square ordinance, would you?
I would suggest that you look at what the city of Mill Creek has.
No, that's not a city. They're a township.
Township. All right, but they are far ahead of us in that regard.
Well, they're mostly here's the difference, Freda. You and I argue about this all the time. Okay, we are a city. They are a residential bedroom community. So there's got to be a balance between what the businesses are allowed to do to advertise. Like, Freda, you came from Brooklyn, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you I'd like to adopt a Times Square ordinance?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
you don't want to get into that.
Well, no. I mean, it's so bright down in Times Square that But,
as people get older, it becomes difficult for their eyes to adjust, especially when they're confronted with that blue light. It also is hard for people who have sensory stimulation issues to deal with those, and even people who don't. This is a developing standard nationwide. This is not a question of residential versus commercial. This is appropriate best managed practices, which I have given to you.
Okay, Fred, I got to go to another meeting, and We have no volume right now. So I'll get back to you, and feel free to call next show, okay?
All right, thank you.
And with that, John,
Kaz, I appreciate you having me. And
I got to go to another meeting here in about 5 minutes. And
okay, well, Mike gave us the 1 minute sign, so if you want to hit the music that nobody can hear.
I'm going to play the Drifters. That's
the Drifters? Yeah,
for all those drivers that cut me off when there's 2 left-hand turn lanes and they can't stay in theirs. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm impressed with your road rage, non-road rage skills. You show a lot of restraint,
Just saw when I was younger.
I don't even want to know. You were probably a hellion.
Well, we thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.